Clara Hale was a woman the city admired and feared in equal measure, the youngest CEO in her company's 80-year history, known for her flawless discipline and iron resolve. But lately, success had begun to feel like an empty room, echoing, cold, and lonely. Her company, Hale Innovations, prided itself on changing lives through technology. Yet, behind all the sleek designs and glowing reviews, Clara often wondered if they'd forgotten why they started in the first place. That night, while she stayed late revising next quarter's reports, she noticed Daniel. He was quiet, always polite, the kind of man people rarely noticed yet never disliked. His shoes were worn, his hands rough. Sometimes, she caught him smiling to himself as he wiped the glass doors, as though he carried a secret joy. But tonight was different. Daniel kept glancing at the clock. When it struck midnight, he removed his uniform jacket, replaced it with an old hoodie from his bag, and slipped out through the side door. Clara hesitated. Her instincts, the same that had made her a successful CEO, whispered there's a story here. So she followed him. Her black car crept down the dimly lit streets, trailing Daniel's old bicycle. He pedaled through alleys, past sleeping shops, until he reached an abandoned-looking warehouse near the edge of the city. Clara parked a block away, heart racing. She expected, she didn't know what, maybe something criminal, something dark. But when she peeked through the half-broken window, her breath caught in her throat. Inside, Daniel stood before a group of children, maybe 20 of them, sitting on worn mats. He smiled warmly as he handed out steaming cups of soup from a large pot. Some of the kids had bruised faces, others looked too thin. A woman beside him gently wrapped blankets around 2 sleeping toddlers. And then Daniel began to speak softly, remember, you're not forgotten. You matter, no matter where you came from. Clara felt her chest tighten. Her throat burned with something she hadn't felt in years, emotion. This janitor was running a midnight shelter for homeless children. The next night, Clara couldn't focus at work. Daniel's words echoed in her mind. How long had he been doing this? Why had no one ever noticed? Why had she never noticed? The next day, she stayed late again. When Daniel was about to leave, she stopped him. Daniel, she said, pretending to be casual, I forgot my phone in the parking lot. Could you walk with me? He hesitated, nodded politely. They walked side by side, the sound of rain filling the silence. Halfway to the exit, she turned to him. I followed you last night, she said quietly. Daniel froze. His eyes flickered with fear, not for himself, but for the children. Please, he said, voice trembling, don't tell anyone. The city shelter shut down last year. These kids had nowhere to go. I just couldn't leave them out there. Clara looked at him, truly looked. Not as a janitor. Not as an employee. But as a man carrying a world no one else saw. And for the first time in a long time, she smiled. I'm not here to stop you, she whispered. I'm here to help. The next week, Clara began joining Daniel after work. At first, she came in disguise, simple clothes, hair tied back, but soon the kids recognized her warmth, not her status. She cooked, cleaned, and read stories to the children who clung to her like she was family. Daniel would watch her from across the room, quietly amazed. One evening, a little girl named Mira tugged Clara's sleeve. Miss Clara, she asked, do rich people ever get lonely too? Clara paused, feeling her heart crack open. Yes, sweetheart, she whispered, brushing the girl's hair. Sometimes the richest hearts are the loneliest ones. That night, after the children fell asleep, Daniel and Clara sat by the dim light of a lantern. You built an empire, Daniel said softly, but you never stopped to see who needed you most. She looked down. And you built a family out of nothing. He chuckled. We just do what we can. The world doesn't need more bosses, it needs more people who care. Those words stayed with her. Days turned into weeks. Clara quietly began diverting part of the company's charity budget, which had mostly gone to publicity stunts, toward Daniel's shelter. She used her connections to find real funding, real medical aid, and safe housing for the children. When her board of directors questioned her, she didn't flinch. For once, she said firmly, our innovation will have a heart. Slowly, Hale Innovations launched a new program, the Midnight Project, a citywide initiative providing shelter, education, and jobs for the homeless, inspired by an unnamed worker's compassion. Daniel refused public credit. He only smiled and said, "It's enough that they're safe." But one night, at a public event, Clara shared the truth. She walked up to the podium, took a deep breath, and said, "This project began not with a CEO, not with a boardroom, but with a janitor who saw hope in the darkness." The audience fell silent. Cameras flashed. And Daniel, standing quietly at the back of the hall, lowered his head as tears filled his eyes.